Hey, what's up everyone? Matt here. So in our last couple of videos, we discussed the difference between public and private markets and what they're used for, how private deals make you wealthy over time, and how liquidity shouldn't be confused as safety. If you haven't checked out those videos, they're probably up here or up here. Go check them out now before we move forward, because today we're going to talk about asset allocation. You see, most investors think asset allocation is about percentages. It's not. Asset allocation is about giving every single dollar you have its own job. You see, most problems start to happen when you have capital doing the wrong job. You know, liquid capital gets locked up, long-term capital gets treated like trading money. That's when the real problems start to arise. I'm gonna make this really practical for you guys and tell you how real investors think. It's pretty simple. They think in buckets. Bucket number one, liquidity capital. Let me give you some real life examples of where you should place your liquidity capital. Our cash reserves, money market funds, public stocks, ETFs, assets where you can sell them and there's already a market in case you need to raise some cash relatively quickly. Now, I've seen investors sleep a hell of a lot better at night just because they had some money liquid. Not because the markets were calm, but they weren't forced to sell anything if there was a downturn. Bucket number two, income capital. Income capital has a completely different job. It's designed to pay you. Real examples of income capital are real estate, private credit, cash flowing assets, structured notes, or private deals that are structured to produce income. This money, it's not meant to be traded. It's meant to produce income. Investors who get it do not panic because daily pricing never enters the picture because, first of all, it was never the goal. Now, I've seen investors rely on this income during volatile markets while others were forced to sell assets just to raise some cash. Now, let's talk about bucket number three. Bucket number three is probably my favorite bucket. This is growth capital, right? Growth capital is meant to be long-term money. Real examples of long-term capital are growth capital, venture capital, private equity, owning and operating businesses, long-term ownership in companies where time and execution really matter. Now, this is the capital that compounds and it's patient by design. You see, problems tend to arise here when you take growth capital and expect it to be liquid capital within 12 months or less. Look, there's nothing usually wrong with the investment. The problem was your expectation. All right, bucket number four, opportunistic capital. Now listen, I told you guys bucket number three, growth capital, was my favorite, but yeah, there's one a little bit better, and it's bucket number four. It's opportunistic capital. Now, what is opportunistic capital? It's real simple. It's money set aside for you to act timely to special situations when others cannot act. If you can act and you have the capital where others don't, you are going to get the best bang for your buck. I want you to think about it like this. During COVID, if you had opportunistic capital set aside while everybody was selling during that market downturn, you could have stepped in and, like I showed you guys in the last video, bought Shopify after it fell and then rode it all the way up to a 5x. Now you see, opportunity doesn't arise from predictions. It comes from being positioned properly and prepared. Now the problem is most investors struggle with these buckets because they put growth money where they need liquidity. They put liquid money into long-term deals, and then things just feel more risky and volatile and everything starts to sound like noise. However, sophisticated investors do not eliminate liquidity. They plan for it. Like I always tell you guys, public markets are excellent for liquidity. Private markets are excellent for income, structuring, and compounding. Now you see, private deals are not as risky as they seem. Once you place them in the right bucket, they become strategic. In the deal room, This is the framework we use, not percentages, but purpose. Like I told you guys before, once you understand where capital belongs, things stop feeling so risky and start feeling more intentional. Now, guys, do me a favor. If you like what I had to say, hit that button below, subscribe, drop some comments. Let me know where you're investing. If you have a deal you want me to look at, shoot me a DM, myself or somebody on my team. We'll get back to you.